Broncos versus Bills.
Here we go.
Now, this is the last AFC game on the slate.
What did you say?
Yo, it's against the Bills, brother. We were here. Let me dap you first to say we had a great regular season.
It was fun.
It was fun while it lasted.
I enjoyed our time together.
I want to get
we have to cut
the
ties.
back and forth here because Broncos versus Bills. It's the last game of the AFC slate side of things. I know how you feel, and we will get to that. Riv, how do you feel about this game kind of being the poster child of watch out for that one? There's upset alert written all over that one.
It has been the poster child.
You know what? Everybody's comments is, hey, listen, I got a hot take. The Broncos are beating the Bills. That's been the most, I think, talked about upset in the wild card round. How do you feel about that?
I think it kind of like multiple things. I think one, it kind of strengthens Josh's MVP case where if you think this team is not that good to where the Broncos can beat them, then what he did this year was pretty special, right?
Don't slide us.
On another note,
I heard some slight there.
Well, if you let me finish, I was just going to say on another note, this Broncos defense is legit.
Do you think it's going to be close?
I do think it can be. I don't think if you're sitting in the film room and you have PS2, you have Riley Moss and Nick
Brandon
and
Jones.
you have these dudes. You're looking at these wide receiver core. You're not saying we can't stop anybody. Like Cooper's good, Shakir's good. I would never disrespect him like that. Kincaid's good, but you're definitely looking at your defense like, no, this is a defense that can put up a strong front against this Buffalo offense. They just have the guy. Like they have the guy. They have the best player by far out both of these teams. You have a defense that's kind of been falling off a cliff too in the Buffalo Bills defense, who they've been arguably one of the worst third down defenses in the league. They've been one of the worst defenses in the league in the last 5-6 weeks. Granted, like that was always mentioned, got to look at the competition. Lions, Rams, pretty highly touted, offensive machines. But I listen, Texans, free falling, Pittsburgh, free falling. The only team on Saturday that hasn't been free falling has been Denver. So it makes sense that this would be the upset. But I think the Buffalo Bills should handle this. Listen, what you've seen in Josh Allen's career when he's been nice is he's been able to handle these type of teams where if they coming in first round, respect to them. But if they don't have the quarterback to match him, if they don't have, the team to just match them, he can pretty much do whatever he wants. I think the Buffalo Bills handle this game pretty evenly. I don't have a score prediction, but I think it's like a one-score game. I do think this defense, Bo Nix would be able to put up some points against his defense because Buffalo's defense relies heavily on getting turnovers and being really volatile. They can do that. But Josh Allen should be able to do what he does and get the job done. I truly believe that.
Oh, you want me to go? I got the Bills. I do think Josh Allen has shown throughout his career that he will dominate and probably win unless your name is Patrick Mahomes. What he's been able to do in the playoffs, he's one of the best playoff quarterbacks of all time, even though he doesn't have a Super Bowl appearance. I get all that. Of course, doesn't have a ring. But he's dominant. I mean, this is a historic season we're witnessing. And the Bills' defense, I definitely think, is something worth considering, right? This is a defense that even, like, outside the, great offenses they played, like, against New England, was kind of close there, right? Like, they were down to start that game, and they were able to move the ball. So I do think that defense is a bit of a, chink in the armor. Like right now, what defense do you trust more, the Ravens or the Bills, right? The Bills defense, that was probably better to start the season. Ravens defense, that's getting hotter as the season has progressed. But I just think it's a bit of a talent mismatch on offense, right? I think Sean Payton is going to have a great game plan. I think that Bo Nix is going to be efficient. They're going to have some explosive plays. I love the way they've been using Marvin Mims lately. I think that's exactly how they drafted him is how they're using him. Or excuse me, when they drafted him, this was their intention with him, right? He's someone that, as of right now, maybe isn't the most developed player, but he's so explosive. And this is a team that lacks explosiveness on offense, right? Like Courtland Sutton is a great wide receiver. He's not someone that's taking the top of the defense going 70 yards. You have Javonte Williams and Estime. None of these guys in the backfield have some insane pop that they could just knock off 60-yard runs. Marvin Mims is one of those guys that can do that. Troy Franklin's another one of those guys that can do it, who's been used some, sparingly, not as much as Mims, but another just explosive weapon. So I do think we're going to see some of those screens. We're going to see some of those shots taken down the field to those guys. But Buffalo's been one of, if not the best team in football for a long, long time, right? This is a team that beat the Kansas City Chiefs, the only loss on their resume so far. It's a team that has looked dominant for basically all season. So, unless the Denver Broncos defense comes up here and puts on a performance for the ages, I was actually talking to Drew in the car. I said, The comp for this might be Jets Patriots in 2010, right? A little different because the Jets lost them like 45-3 late in the year in the regular season, and it was Tom Brady, so it is a little bit different. But it's a young team relying on their defense with a young quarterback that a lot of people aren't given a chance to. And I think rightfully so. I don't think a lot of people should have given the Jets a chance. I don't think a lot of people should give the Broncos a chance. But when you have all the pressure off you, Denver's got no pressure going into this game. They should not be here. On the other side, Buffalo's got all the pressure in the world. This is a team that you should win by double digits against, and you could be looking ahead to Baltimore in a week. So I got Buffalo in this game. I do think they could win by like 10 points or so. But listen, the upsets, it's on the table.
Go, Mr. Moran.
I think the Buffalo Bills have been sleepwalking to end the year. The AFC East was clinched by
November.
week 12? I mean, this is a team that was sleepwalking to the finish, and they've had some duds on defense. I think Teron Johnson being hurt was a big reason for that. They're going to be healthy this game. You know, all their defensive personnel, whether it's Benford, Teron Johnson, Taylor Rapp, Rasul Douglas, their defensive line, they're all going to be healthy. When I look at the Broncos, the strength is the defense, of course. How they have fared against other top offenses this year doesn't give me a lot of room for optimism that they'll be able to neutralize the Bills. The Bills are number one in points scored per drive when Josh Allen is on the field. The Broncos let Joe Burrow throw for 400 on them with no offensive line. The Bills have one of the best offensive lines in the NFL, especially pass protection-wise. Lamar Jackson had a great day against his defense as well. Justin Herbert in the second half of the Thursday Night Football primetime game had a great day. I think the fact that the Bills' offense doesn't go through one guy like it did last year with Stephon Diggs, or really in years past like it did with Stephon Diggs, is a benefit to them because they just pick at your weak points. And I think the number one thing when teams face Denver is we're not throwing it past Surtain. That's really the number one thing that teams do. And Riley Moss has been a bit vulnerable since coming back from his injury.
Yes.
Jaquan McMillan has been a bit up and down. And while the Broncos are top 5 in pressure percentage on defense, they're also top 5 in blitz percentage, and they take a lot of risks. And sometimes you're scratching your head looking at Vance Joseph like, why did you blitz in that moment and you let up a 20-yard gain down the field when you really didn't need to? So I think the Broncos defense can get a little bit over-aggressive at times. And when I look at the matchup offensively, Bo Nix, 21.9% of his passes have been on the run. That's the most in the NFL. The Bills allow the most touchdowns by quarterbacks on the run in the NFL. So that can be an advantage for the Broncos where they move Bo Nix out the pocket. And I think the offensive line's a big thing. Strength of the Bills is that they're 12th in pressure percentage while being 27th in blitz percentage. They don't blitz at all. And Bo Nix, under pressure, and has been one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. So I think this is going to be one of those games that Sean McDermott is going to blitz. He's going to try to heat up Bo Nix as much as possible. And it's going to be on these receivers on the outside to make plays down the field and scare McDermott out of those looks. So while I think the Broncos have all the makings to maybe pull off a potential upset, there's a lot of things going against them as well. Bo Nix, first playoff game, rookie quarterback on the road in cold weather. Josh Allen playing at the level that he's playing at, and this Broncos defense really hasn't been the best against the best offenses in the NFL. I got the Bills winning here. I think it's a little bit closer than people expect. I'm going 27-21 Bills.
I'm nervous for this game. I'm nervous for the sole fact that these are my guys. This is the first time I've got a taste of playoff football since I celebrated Super Bowl 50 9 years ago. And, of course, we have to go up against a juggernaut. Josh Allen's a juggernaut. He is one of the favorites, if not the favorite right now, where we stand to win the MVP. What he's been able to do this season has been nothing short of miraculous. I do understand, though, looking at this game, that the Bills should be favored. Of course, you have the number 2 seed in the AFC, the best offense in the league. You have the best quarterback in the league to some. But I do look at that defense as a weak point right now where we stand. And I look at this offense for my Denver Broncos, and although we haven't been as efficient as I would like as a rush offense, I think it needs to be a focal point for us in this matchup, because then obviously it sets up easier plays for us on third down, third and short. We can go and we can get creative, whether that is play action, whether that's getting Bo Nix out of the pocket and trying to make plays in that regard. I'm glad you mentioned Marvin Mims because we've been seeing that a lot recently, and that's led to a lot of positive plays. But then that also allows or forces the defense to stay honest on that, and now we have moments where we can take the top off. And we've seen, especially in recent weeks, Bo Nix be able to do that, and it lead to really big explosive plays. This is going to be a fun matchup because I understand where you talk about our defense going up against the best offenses. And Joel, when we talk, I say it all the time, my least favorite matchup for us, it's the Baltimore Ravens. Because there's just no possible way to stop and try to stay true to one facet of that offense. But I look at the Buffalo Bills, and in terms of matchups, I'm not too worried about our secondary going up against these guys. And you mentioned how we struggled against the Cincinnati Bengals. Yeah, we gave up 30 points, but 6 of those points did come in overtime. 24 points to one of the best offenses in the league. To me, I'll take that. Riley Moss in his first game back. Did T. Higgins torch him? Absolutely, 100%. But my guy, DPOY, Pat Surtain, was able to take out, when he did match up against Jamar Chase, take him out of the game for a good portion of it. When they were able to get mismatches, that's really when we saw Jamar take advantage and that lead to explosive plays. But for the Buffalo Bills, they do not have a guy that I genuinely fear. Now, I know I have to respect Shakir because obviously that's Josh Allen's go-to guy. But outside of Shakir, where I feel like that's Jaquan McMillan's assignment, Shakir will get the better of Jaquan from play to play. But in this scenario, I don't look at a receiver that Buffalo has that Riley Moss can't go and defend with on a down-to-down basis. And if Pat Surtain's going to line up with Amari Cooper, which I doubt will be the outcome for the entire game, because again, Amari Cooper really hasn't been a huge focal point for the Buffalo Bills. That's another thing for sure. But where I fear, or what I want us to focus on, there's no fear here. What I want us to focus on more than anything is stopping this rush offense for the Buffalo Bills. Because if Josh and James go tit for tat and they start to push the ball down in that regard, now we have to sell out on it. Now you talk about taking chances that we may not have to. We go and we blitz. Now it's play action. Now you have Josh as a playmaker. That's where things can get dangerous for us. But I do see the avenue of where we can win, and that's where we can make him uncomfortable. And I looked at that blueprint that the New England set a couple of weeks back against them. They did a really strong job of limiting them on early downs, which forced them into late third and longs, fourth down situations. And in the first half, they did a great job of limiting them. And in the second half, of course, Buffalo started to get going. But they made Josh uncomfortable. And I think that there's no team that does a better job of making a quarterback uncomfortable, at least this season, than my Denver Broncos. I think it's going to be imperative that we get after him and make him uncomfortable. Of course, it's going to be hard to get after him because he is one of the best at avoiding sacks. But that's the avenue. Getting after him, making him uncomfortable, having it in third and long situations. If we can really limit their rush offense, now we force Josh Allen, which of course you know he's going to make plays at least a time or two in this one. But if we can limit that, I can see an avenue where we upset them. And of course, I'm going to ride with my dogs. It's going to be a close game. I'm going to go 24-17 with us coming out on top.
I feel like what I want to see from the Bills this game is I want to see Amari Cooper used more. I don't feel like he was really being used in the offense that much. It's been very sporadic. And what I don't want to see in this game is Amari Cooper being the sacrificial lamb that Pat Surtain follows, because I don't think that Pat Surtain's going to shadow one guy on the Bills the entire game. They just don't have that quality of receiver right now, even Amari Cooper with his resume. So I want to see Amari Cooper moved around more than they've been doing. And I think this could be a big-time Amari Cooper game, like one that settles him in the offense in totality. But it's going to be a fun game. I think it's going to be very fun.
Definitely one it could set a tone for the day. It's 1 p.m., first game on Sunday. It's either we win and I'm thrilled. I don't know if I'll be happier, or, rip the Band-Aid off. It's over. It's done with. I just don't want us to get blown out.